What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today, we're gonna focus on the Dreadhorn boss that came with this rotation. Honestly, the most annoying boss in the Doom Tower. If you have the right champions, the right gear, the right stats on them, you're not really gonna struggle to beat this boss. But overall, the mechanics that he has, they are pretty extreme. When this boss got released, I think like 6 months ago, I actually made quite a few guides on it, on how to beat it. But I haven't really tried the bombs since they actually buffed them on this particular boss. They are meant to do way more damage now than they were doing when the boss got released, so I'm super curious to try that out. Plus, I'm gonna share with you a couple of different teams, different combos of champions that you could use to beat this boss if you're struggling. First, before we move over to talk about the teams, I want to show you a few champions that can actually solo particular stages. Now, some of these champions are not available on my account. I don't have a Samar Gemcursed to show it to you. And the other three, I don't have them built at all. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through it. We're going to start with the Sacred Order. We actually have a rare champion that we can farm. And this is the Templar. The reason why he can do it is because he has a block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. So as long as you're timing the moment when you're using the skill and the speeds, you're going to be able to stay alive and slowly manual that boss and beat it. That's of course if you're struggling. Now, I do not personally have a guide on this champion, so I would suggest you to just go on YouTube if you're struggling and you don't have better teams, better champions, and just write Templar, Dreadhorn boss, and I'm pretty sure Stu Gaming has a guide on it already, so feel free to check that out. That's the reason why this bad boy can do it. And you can farm him from campaign if you're really struggling, especially with the normal mode. I don't think he's going to be able to take you far on the hard mode Doom Tower, but he's going to be able to do a great job on the normal mode. Then we have a similar epic. Again, I don't have a guide on it, but feel free to check, search it on YouTube, guys. Crimson Helm. She's actually an OG epic in the game. Basically, she has pretty much the same thing that Templar has. Block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. As long as you're timing the skills, the speeds, you're going to be able to do it. And you can actually do even stage 90 on hard mode, okay? So she's actually no joke. But you're going to have to manual with these two champions. It's not as easy. You might be able to do it all the way till the end and mess something up. And you're going to have to start again. It's something that I'm not looking to try out, honestly, because it's very time consuming. But if you really want to beat it, you're going to have to do it, you know, if you have the champions. I do have a guide on this one, actually, and this is no one else but Burangiri. I've actually done it on the very first day, I think, when the boss got released. He has a very unique passive. Heals this champion by 50% of their max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So that's kind of like what allows us to solo it with him. He can only solo up to floor 50 hard mode. He's not going to be able to do floor 90, unfortunately. But hey, if you're struggling before that, he's going to allow you to get up to floor 50. And all you want to do on him, give him a regeneration set, block the A2 and the A3, make sure he's not using them from the team preset, and only use the A1 with him. Regeneration set, that's kind of like what's going to make it happen. A good amount of HP, but I'll be linking the guide somewhere up here, guys, so you can actually click and watch it if you're interested. So he can take you that far. He's gonna solo everything on normal mode. And then we have kind of like the ultimate solo champion for this boss, and that is Samar Gemcursed. How you guys can see, I don't actually have him on this account. Funny enough, I have like 4 or 5 on my other account, but basically pretty much the same cup of tea with him too. He can solo everything. He can solo every single boss. For floor 90, you will need him on pretty solid stats in order to do it. You don't need resistance on him. War Master on Masteries to make sure he's actually killing the boss before you're reaching the turn limit. But basically, the A1 heals him a bit, gives him turn meter. And here, places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn at the start of each round, and then he has the active effect. You don't need to book these champions, okay? The last two that I've told you, they don't need books. And masteries, they do need them in order to make it work. But for floor 90 hard mode. You're probably gonna need around 240, 250 speed, 80 to 90k HP, and preferably to use a champion that has a speed aura as the lead to increase his speed even more. And of course, lock his A2, lock his A3, only use his A1 on the team presets, and that's gonna do the job. And he's gonna solo everything. So if you're struggling with it, build Samar Gemcursed, guys. He's gonna be doing an amazing job. Now, personally, I'm planning to farm the Dreadhorn boss this rotation. I want to get more resistance gear. I feel like my savage gear is good enough, and I'll be trying tons of different teams. Now, I want to share with you guys a couple of different ideas that I have in mind, and a couple of different combos, combinations of champions, you know. So right now, we're actually going with resistance, we're going with decreased accuracy, and we're going with bombs. So Vogot is probably one of the best healers in here. I already made a guide with Vogot and Geomancer a few months ago where they're actually melting the boss. I'm probably not gonna use Geomancer again since I've done it like 3 months ago actually when this rotation came out. And the same with Vogot. They're actually very, very solid overall as a combo. You can have Vogot on a deflection set, deflect some bombs back to the boss. That's gonna kill the boss a bit faster. Now, I haven't used deflection set this time around since probably a lot of you guys don't have a lot of deflection set. You know, you don't really need crazy stats on that. Just have one set, throw it on your champions, and retry till it works. What I'm actually gonna try today is using Brockney on a protection set from the Hydra. Basically, it's gonna be a 40% chance to don't have your buffs stripped, at least some particular buffs. And I already have that with the shield on Brockney, but what if I'm gonna have the immunity? Since the boss is gonna strip buffs, okay? What if he's not gonna be able to strip the immunity? He's not gonna be able to land bombs on our champions. The bombs cannot be cleansed, so cleansers are not that great. But that doesn't mean that if you have a Cardiel, you can use a protection set on him, because you're gonna have the immunity from him as well. You're gonna have the speed aura, which are pretty solid overall. Of course, we're actually running the resistance aura right now, so I'm gonna show you how this team works. I kind of want to see the bombs. Now, my Brockney, this one is not fully booked. I do have a +2 that's actually booked, but I'm gonna use this one. And my Astrolich is not fully booked either. I'm gonna show you the stats on all these champions in a second. But first, let me quickly show you the run. Now, you actually might want a manual before you get at the boss to have the right skills on cooldown. Since half of my champions are not actually booked here, guys, I just want to make sure I have the bombs available. I have Brockney's A3 available. And would be nice to actually have, instead of one of these champions, instead of them, to have a damage dealer to help you with the waves. I'm still gonna use this decreased accuracy, guys, because the protection set is not 100% guaranteed to protect my immunity, you know? So it's a bit of an RNG. But if you're really struggling, you're gonna have to try multiple times and make sure the right buffs are getting protected. It's kind of like to give you another idea on how you might actually be able to beat the boss, you know? Decreased accuracy is definitely the most effective thing for people that don't have the most insane gear and insane champions. So right now, the shield is not going to be removed, you know? But there we go. We have immunity protected on 2 champions. Not on all of them, unfortunately, because it's the RNG. We have protected the increased attack. So that means that the boss won't be able to strip a million buffs and land 2,000 bombs on all our champions. If we would have a deflection set in here, it's kind of like gonna counter the whole thing. It's gonna be a bit annoying. You shouldn't really use deflection and protection sets on champions in the same team, because they're kind of countering each other, you know? But let's see the bombs. How much damage are the bombs actually doing? I do have a crazy team in mind as well. I'm gonna show you towards the end. Oh, wow. That's actually very solid damage from bombs, guys. Very, very solid damage from bombs. Decreased accuracy is definitely going to be the key the higher you go if you don't have champions to solo it. If you want to farm it, I am using Geomancer in my farming team. Definitely something that I'll be using. Probably I'm going to pair it with bombs, deflection sets, since they're going to make this run much faster. I already made a video on it 3 months ago, so I'm not going to be using that again, but I'll be linking it somewhere here if you're curious to see that, how it's working. Geomancer, bombs, and Vogot in the same team with deflection was actually super fun. So from here on, I could actually just let it go on auto, you know. The main thing is the boss gets that extra turn. So if you're gonna be able to have 300 plus resistance on your champions for floor 90 hard mode and have decreased accuracy, you're gonna be fine. It's really important to have the decreased accuracy champion and the buff the champion that buffs, how we had Brogni, to go in front of the boss. Because if you're gonna be able to decrease his accuracy before he gets his turn, you're much safer. If you're gonna be able to buff with Brogni and maybe the protection set is gonna come in play and protect that immunity for most of your champions, again, you're gonna have a better fight. Now, I think on floor 90, the boss has around 250 speed. Use either a resistance aura, either use a speed aura. That's gonna help you as well to deal with the boss. But the bombs are actually doing very good damage now on the boss compared to what they used to do when it got released. They were utterly trash, honestly. Now they're actually doing decent damage. Only 2 bombs exploding here and there, and they're actually almost taking a quarter of his HP overall. I feel like that's pretty damn good. Now, I know on the higher stages, on floor 90, the bombs won't be as efficient anymore, since the HP of the boss is gonna be much bigger overall. But it's pretty decent, at least for the lower stages, you know. If you don't have Rector Dread, you might have a Godseeker or Neri. That's actually gonna be a pretty good champion to do the job. A Rector Dread, sorry, I think I said it the other way around. But basically, Astrolith 667k damage. Yoshi actually dealt a bit more just because of the HP burn ticks. But when you're using HP burn on this boss as well, guys, you're actually a bit at risk because they're gaining a turn meter, you know. So it's not necessarily a thing that you should use, but not something that you shouldn't use either. So how I mentioned, Rector Dread is actually an amazing champion. Let's just say you don't have a Brogni. We're going to go in like that. We don't actually have Godseeker or Neri, that's fine. And I'm going to bring in a nuker to help me with the waves, okay? So we're going to be able to beat it like this. I'm putting Ethos to help me with the waves. If you don't have Ethos, use any other nuker that you have built and available on your account. It's not going to farm as fast, the waves, but it's still going to help you. This is going to do the job as well as a team. Now, I do have a crazy team in my mind, guys, that I really want to try out. I don't have the champions built for today, and I definitely plan to try that on floor 90 once I get there. So expect another video on it in the next week. So basically, this is something that I have in mind. Probably a deflection set on a Vogot. Then I have the Soul Drinker, okay, with the bombs. Maybe I use Master Butcher. Maybe I'm gonna use 2 Godseeker on Iris, so I constantly revive Soul Drinker. Basically, when he dies, he has this passive that puts bombs on the enemy. Of course, it has a cooldown on that. But then the skills can land bombs and can actually decrease the bomb detonation cooldown. So I can actually let him die, revive him with Godseeker on Iris, have the cooldowns, reset it as well, again land bombs, again decrease the cooldown, and literally kill this boss so fast with bombs. That's kind of like one thing that I have in mind. I really want to try this team. I'm gonna definitely need to have my revivers on a high resistance so they don't get the bombs. For that, I'm gonna need to have a decreased accuracy champion. If you don't have Yoshi, that was a previous fusion, maybe you started the game after. We have Tatura, that was the Christmas fusion. You can use that champion instead for decreased accuracy. It's a very solid champion too. It has a good aura for the Doom Tower, if I'm not mistaken. I actually don't have Tatura on this account, but I'm definitely looking forward to try something like this. Maybe 2 Soul Drinkers, only 1 Reviver, and have the bombs land and just smack the boss with tons of bombs. But I want to try this on floor 90, guys, just to make sure it's actually working before I'm showing you teams that they might not work on this boss, you know? So if you guys have like some different ideas on how to beat the boss that we haven't really covered and we haven't really talked about, definitely let me know in the comments down below. How I specified, Rector Dread is going to be awesome for a different sort of team where you're going to go with healings, you're going to go with resistance, you're going to go with damage either from bombs, either from HP burn like with the Geomancer, but I already covered that in a different video, so you'll be finding the link in here too, somewhere up on the screen. But if I'm gonna quickly show you the stats on the champions, just so you guys can get an idea, basically he's only built with accuracy and a bit of speed. I just threw some accuracy gear on him. That's kind of like what I care for him, to have enough accuracy to debuff the boss, have the right speed to go in front of the boss. Now these stats will ensure that it's gonna be perfectly fine on hard mode floor 90 without a problem, especially the speed. You don't even need that much accuracy. But one thing you want to pay attention to, guys, are the masteries. So having Evil Eye or anything that decreases the turn meter on the boss is a problem, you know? So you want to avoid having Evil Eye. I would not suggest you to spend 150 gems every single time you're fighting that boss, every rotation and stuff. Definitely no. If you don't have multiple champions to use against that boss, you're going to have to go with it like that and just kind of like soak in the extra damage that you're getting from it. But that's kind of like Yoshi. You see the speed, the accuracy, nothing really crazy on it. But when we're talking about the other champions, the revivers are very, very important. I prefer regeneration sets on them because are very safe and having the right amount of resistance. Now, the resistance I have on my champion, on Godseeker Raniri, is enough for floor 90 hard mode if I have decreased accuracy on the boss, you know? So you need probably 400 is enough. I think I have a bit of an overkill. But I would want to have more speed for floor 90 just to make sure I'm overlapping the boss. I'm faster than the boss. If not, the boss is going to be taking more turns than my reviver is going to take. And it's going to make my life harder. It's going to be harder for me to revive champions. Regeneration set, farm Fire Knight, guys. You're going to be able to get a decent one in a week, 2 weeks, depending on how much energy you're farming. If you're free to play with a daily energy, I guarantee you in 2 weeks of farming Fire Knight, you're gonna have an amazing immunity set to use on at least one of the champions. So that's kind of like what I have on Godseeker Raniri. You see no masteries, but I would probably go with support and offense if that's kind of like the only place where I want to use her. I want to give her War Master just to help me out with the damage a bit more on the champion. Astrolith, she doesn't have full masteries either. She is not fully booked. But basically, you just want to have attack on her and speed. She is a bit pretty crazy with the attack on the build that I have, but you don't need to have so much attack for her overall. You might want to let her die probably if you go like this, because she's gonna get revived by Godseeker Raniri, and again have that bomb skill decreased, so you can use it straight away after you revive her. Geomancer, on the other hand, I have an UC, I know, but probably I would give him Relentless or Regeneration as well. One of the two sets, or maybe even Deflection. Who knows? Depending on what sort of combinations I'm gonna do with my champions. I have them built right now, my Geomancers, for the Hydra Clan boss. You know, this is my Rector Dread. She is actually on a Resistance and 2 Immortal sets. Definitely more resistance than I actually need for even floor 90. With decreased accuracy. If no, I'm not going to be able to resist it. But I could be able to resist it with an increased resistance buff. There's only one champion at the moment. That's why I'm not really mentioning it as much, guys. Because it's only one. If you don't have him, increased resistance doesn't really exist for the rest of us. Vogot, I actually have him on a regeneration set. I don't want him to die, guys, because if he dies, for the teams that I used, you know, I'm not going to get a heal on the rest of them. So that's why I have him on a regen. On a different team, I would probably use him on a deflection set just to benefit more from it overall. And even if he dies, he's going to get revived. So it's pretty much okay for him to go down. These masteries are kind of like for arena more. I do have accuracy on him just to land that leech. That might help me a bit on the boss. For floor 90 hard mode, you might want to get a bit more accuracy overall on Vogot, you know. But that was kind of all for this video, guys. Do let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is the hardest boss? Are you still struggling with this particular one? Or do you think the Dark Phase is harder? But yeah, I will be covering another video on the Dark Phase, just kind of like an updated team. Some different combos as well that I haven't showcased in the previous videos. But that was all for this video. Much love. I'll catch you all soon later on at 5 p.m. UTC, 12 p.m. EST time on Twitch TV/SkratchAK47. The link will be in the pinned comments. We'll be hosting a charity event to support the humanitarian crisis from Eastern Europe, guys. But that was all for this video. Much love, stay safe, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.